Oi, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we have a doozy, back chatting about Rugby League 26, and I do want to preface this by saying take this info with a grain of salt. So recently, as of yesterday, a Rugby League 26 play session took place, or test session, or whatever you want to call it, where the NRL hosted students to come out and try the game. Thankfully for us, now I know it's going to sound fugazi, but one of the students' older brothers was dropping him off to this play session, and he got asked if he wanted to play as well, so he did. This lad goes by the name of Kaza. He's in our Rugby League modding community, and for receipts he actually had a picture taken with Ross, with his face blurred out of course, and yeah, that's what leads me to think that a lot of the info he's given is pretty much facts. This group of people were actually the first to play the game outside of the big employees themselves. There was like 20 students I believe, plus maybe the people that took them there, including Kaza. But yeah, shout out to Kaza for relaying some info. They didn't sign any NDAs, he didn't, so it's free reigns to chat about. A little bit of info to get our beaks wet, to hold us until we see some official news about the game. Crazy that we haven't yet from the NRL side of things, but yeah, shout out to Kaza, shout out to Matt for letting me know about this, and also Dingo. These are blokes that have been a part of these Discord streets over the years. So yeah, let's get to it. First of all, there were a bunch of notes, but we will be chatting about a couple of main takeaways from said notes. The first was the other half of the cover. Recently, it was leaked on 100% Footy that Nathan Cleary was to be on the cover of the game, and going by the UK cover, an NRLW player should be joining him on there, and that player apparently is Gold Coast Titans / New South Wales Blue, Jamie Chapman. So congratulations if it is in fact a Jamie Chapman and he's not confusing her with anyone else. That's huge to be on the official game of Rugby League. He also went on to say that Big Ant Studios were the ones to pick the cover athlete, and that ultimately the NRL would approve or reject whoever they had in mind. By the way, the mock-up you do see on screen was made by me and is not the cover. Another takeaway that isn't gameplay related was the reveal of who will be joining Vossi in commentary for the Australian side of things, and that player or person is Cameron Smith. He went on to say that they had Cameron Smith's lines muted during the gameplay, but Ross actually told him that Cam was the other commentator. As for my thoughts on that, I was not expecting Cameron Smith, I'm not gonna lie. Mostly because I'm not too familiar with him as a commentator, as I don't really watch footy on Channel 9 anymore. Not saying that I don't like it, I just wasn't expecting Cam. I was expecting more someone from Fox to join Vossi. And I'm also not too familiar if he has any commentary, how do you say, go-tos or catchphrases like Dan Ginane's goodbye, or Blocker's mispronunciation of surnames with more than 2 syllables. I joke, but I still think McInnes and how animated he is would be perfect in a video game setting. Moving along, I did want to cover those two off rip because that's something we've been talking about over the past week or so. Cover athletes and commentary teams, and we finally got confirmation of Nathan Cleary and Jamie Chapman joining him. The commentary was a surprise. I was not expecting Cameron Smith out of all potential commentators, and I'm not mad at it, to be honest. So moving along to some more juicy details, let's talk player and team ratings. So for the play session, he mentioned that 2 modes were available. One was the new Ultimate Team, aka Pro Team, and the other was a casual quick match. He mentioned that they did open packs, and the players that they saw, there was only 7 he could remember from memory, as they did have their phones confiscated. Out of the players he saw from lowest to highest, Luca Moretti was a 77, Victor Radley was a 78. If you ask me, that's pretty low for a player of Radley's caliber. Sure, his form's been a little dicey lately, but he still, for me, should be clearing 82, 83. But yeah, Victor Radley, 78 overall. That's kinda low. Tom Trbojevic was a 90 overall. As much as I love Tommy Turbo, he shouldn't be that high, in my opinion. Now, next up we have Lachlan Galvin, was a 90 overall. I'm not sure how Pro Team works, or Ultimate Team for that matter. Is it possible to get rookie cards with ratings as high as a 90? And what would be the logic behind having a card that high for a rookie? Or a rating that high, I should say, for a rookie? I don't know. To me, that kind of seems over the top. The final player that he remembered was James Tedesco, and he was the highest rated player he saw. From memory, he was 92 overall. That is pretty legit. James Tedesco is still playing to that kind of standard today, even though he's not a part of the rep arena. He has been absolutely killing it for the Roosters. To only be 2 points higher than a rookie in Galvin, I need more context to that 90 overall that was seen. As for the teams that he remembered, to his credit, he actually remembered quite a few. From lowest to highest, the lowest was the Titans that he remembered. They were in 83. Then it was the Eels at an 85. And then the Broncos, Roosters, and the Warriors all shared a 86 overall. The Panthers were the second highest rated NRL club at an 87, and sharing the top spot as the highest rated NRL clubs in the game, the Storm and the Bulldogs, coming in at an 88 overall. Those were all the teams you could remember. The Bulldogs up there with the best of the best, and it's pretty on par for how they're performing at the moment in real life. I'll be interested to see these player ratings for the Bulldogs and if the overall is determined by the players in the team. Because if Galvin's a 90, there's probably 2 or 3 more 90 overall players. I'd assume that Critter's one. It kind of makes me want to do a predictions video of player ratings. But yeah, for player ratings, that is all the info we got. Now, to get to the meat and potatoes, how did the game play? Were there new rules, new animations? Was it like Rugby League Live 3? Was it like Rugby League Live 4? That for me is the biggest question. Did it feel like Rugby League Live 3 or 4? And he had said that the game feels like a polished version of a League Live 4, with smoother general passing, short balls in that, and changed mechanics for certain areas of the game. First of all, I like that it feels like a better version of League Live 4, as I do think it's still a solid place to keep building from. I get that it's probably the most divisive game in the franchise. If you took the time to actually learn the ins and outs, there was fun to be had. He did expound on his experience with gameplay. He played I think it was 1.5 games, and that's what we're about to dive into. So, additions to gameplay. In terms of rules, the 6 agains are in the game, and he talked about how he kept getting punished for his markers being offside. Whether he had control of them or not, he didn't quite say, but yeah, 6 agains are in the game and work as intended. From inside the 40, you get a penalty, and outside, that's when the 6 agains kick in. Some quality of life improvements he had mentioned in regards to passing was the drawing and passing was much better and felt like how it is in Rugby League Live 3 and 2 for that matter. And that's if you held the pass button down, you'd get the position number of the player as well as the button they're mapped to, so that is huge, especially when you're looking for your strike men on the edge or out wide. Other gameplay changes that stood out to me had to do with the aerial contests, and that it's more like AFL 26. He was saying something about circles and timing them felt more consistent, and also a smoother transition from catching a ball in goal to grounding. And what I took from his description was that we could potentially be seeing that animation that appeared in the Rugby League Live 4 trailer, where Suliasi Vunivalu was catching a bomb and it transitioned into him grounding the ball, all in one motion. Much more realistic and smoother than what we've seen in League Live 4. They usually just catch it and then land on their feet and ground the ball. For me, the biggest takeaway from his experience with gameplay would be everything to do with AI. He mentioned that the AI chip kicked in League Live 4, League Live 2, even 3. I can't recall the AI ever implementing a chip kick into their attack. So although small, it's actually a pretty big change in terms of variety in play. He mentioned that there was way better support play, and that Josh Adokar in particular was everywhere he was when he had ball in hand, which is interesting. He also mentioned, not to do with AI, but the player speeds in general are different. They feel different. You won't have your big boys like Haas and Tino running down your Foxes and Khan Pereiras and all that. And back to the AI, he was playing on Pro, he said. Pretty much overall they felt quote unquote smarter. They'd always play for markers offside, they'd not default to kicking on the last every time, they would actually chance their arm and run the ball, and that they'd pass to support. So yeah, that's pretty much the highlights of what was said. There was a whole bunch of chatting going on. I did get sent some notes, but I ended up going back and reading through that whole convo. And I've got to say, for the most part, I am pretty excited, especially at the fact that it does feel like a polished version of League Live 4. I do have a couple of things that won't be in the game that was mentioned, one being team songs. Unfortunately, we did see them appear in AFL 26, and yeah, unfortunately due to copyright issues they couldn't get all the NRL teams winning chants or winning songs into the game. So thank you Big Ant Studios for saving us Queenslanders from listening to the absolute audio diarrhea that is the New South Wales Blues winning theme. Quickly before we go, animations, he said he noticed a lot of old animations from League Live 4, as well as some new animations sprinkled in. As for custom celebrations like Ben Hunt's punt or the hammer and his, hammerhead pose, he said that a punt celebration was in the game and it wasn't Ben Hunt doing it, so he's not too sure if there will be custom celebrations for certain players. And it's also worth noting that they were playing on an older build of the game. And that's pretty much all I've got for you. From what I've been sent and from what I've read through, those were kind of my standouts. So I just got back from checking the cord and someone else has a list of what was talked about. If you want to have a read through that, I'll link it in the description as well as the comment section if I can get here in time. But yeah, that's going to be it from me. Exciting times, no official NRL announcement, but yet again, here we are reporting on more leaks. I mean, the boat's pretty much sunk at this point. Surely an NRL announcement looms around the corner. For now, we are going to call it there. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to run straight to that like button. And for more rugby league related content or more content in general, go ahead and drop your boy a cheeky sub. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.